Hello, viewers, and welcome to the latest episode of The Huddle. I'm here with Brian Goodman, CEO of Golden Matrix Group, and Zoran Milosevic, CEO of Meridianbet. Thank you both for joining me. Start with you, Brian. Thanks for joining, and how's things for you?
Thank you for having me. Well, things are good. No complaints, and happy to be on your program.
And Zoran, thanks for joining us as well.
Hello, thank you for inviting us, and looking forward to answer your questions.
Yeah, as I say, thanks for both coming on. Wanted to start off with the merger, obviously, I think completed recently or this year. Was just wondering if up to you kind of who takes which answers or how you want to kind of walk us through it. But if you could tell our viewers about the process kind of from start to finish, because it wasn't instant, it took a while, but I think you guys are kind of over that side of the hill now.
Okay, I think maybe give you a bit of a background of Golden Matrix, and then we can move on to Meridian. We'll work out who answers what between us, so nothing formal. Golden Matrix started up in 2016. It was an OTC company. It's worked its way onto NASDAQ. It naturally uplisted because of its success and its strength of its balance sheet and its results, and it's always delivered. And the company's grown exponentially over time in a short period of time. And we've scaled the core business. We've made an acquisition in the UK, which is a very strong business that we have, a raffle ticket type business. And then, as you mentioned, we look to scale the business to a larger, but from a micro cap to a small cap. And Meridian, we met Meridian a couple of years ago, and we put together this acquisition. It took us a little longer than we anticipated, but I suppose nothing comes easy. So right now, obviously, we've completed the acquisition, and things are going well. And we actually have a press release out this morning, which will, I guess, give a market update as to how the companies are tracking. But yes, we're together, we're stronger than apart, and the companies continue to deliver excellent growth, and we'll continue to scale the core businesses as well as look for further acquisitions.
Yeah, I think we'll go over to Zoran next, but I also wanted to ask you, Zoran, so at Meridianbet since 2003, and one of the quotes on kind of your website is, "We're not just building the company for next quarter, it's for the next 100 years." And that's quite an interesting quote. Just wanted to ask about your journey with Meridianbet and obviously joining into this wider group, and maybe a little bit more about that long-term approach.
Thank you. As you stated, I joined Meridian 21 years ago, and it was just a few years after Meridian was established. So it was quarter of a century since Meridian is established. It was year 2000. And it started in a sports betting business and retail, and over the years it transferred to also included online business. And after a few years, we started with casino business. So currently, today, we are operating both in online and retail, both betting and casino, sports betting and casino. We also operate on a B2B and B2C model, currently split between sports betting and casino is approximately 55% sports betting, 45% casino. Casino is obviously growing much stronger than sports betting. In terms of online, 65% is online, 35% is retail. In terms of revenue split, what is very interesting is that company employs about 1,200 people. Out of them, 100 are developers, and company is making its own technology since day one. So since day one, we are making everything what we deliver on a sports betting side and casino side by ourselves. And we deliver our services into 15 plus jurisdictions worldwide, over 800 betting shops, and we have every single online channel as well. So iOS, Android, Huawei, and so on. In terms of long term, as you can see, so company was there was like very few shareholders, and still, if you read our deal and the nature of the deal, we are getting stocks. Majority of the price which we are getting is stocks, and that basically describes our wish for this company to accelerate even further. And we want to just continue to do as we were doing this in the past. We want to open new markets, deliver our technologies to many other companies, and just to continue. Basically, we think that the best days of sports betting are yet to come. With opening of US market that had a big influence and big impact on the other markets worldwide, which we currently see in Latin America. We expect in a few years that Asia will feel that impact as well. And whatever we felt in Europe last 20, 25 years ago, it's actually just 10% of the potentials which are will and are happening worldwide. And that is why we want to prepare our company to be able to fight next several decades and to be not to end up as the smallest fish in aquarium. So that's in short.
Yeah, no, thanks for the detailed numbers, because it's amazing. I had questions on the split between retail and online, split between sports betting and casino. So you've already answered those. So thanks for that. That's good stuff. If we could maybe go to Brian, in terms of what Meridianbet brings to Gold Matrix Group, what was the kind of rationale? What were you looking for, and what do you feel you have acquired kind of as a result of the deal?
So I think the most important part is the cultural similarity, and culturally there's a lot of synergy. Both companies had never had any debt, so both companies have had zero debt on their books. Were always profitable from the outset, and so when I talk profitable, we're talking cash positive, so generating positive cash, and building the business was the priority. Scaling the business, making it more profitable. In terms of Golden Matrix, delivering shareholder value, and our shareholders came on board somewhere. The company started out at 4 cents, to give you an idea of where the companies come from. And like I say, culturally, we both believed in similar aspirations in building this business from a micro cap to a small cap, and then hopefully we're going to be a multi-billion-dollar company. And whilst we're out there, companies are painting blue sky and offering the world, the one thing about us is that we've always delivered. When we've set out to do things, we've delivered, and people, like you said early on, maybe it took a bit longer than we anticipated, but when we set out to acquire something in the UK to take us into the raffle ticket type business, we went out and we bought it, and we delivered a very valuable product. When we came together with Meridian, we've completed that, and we continue to deliver. It's we have a large amount of support in terms of core shareholders that have been around from the early days, but we well recognized in many other factors. Golden Matrix didn't have a sportsbook product. It had casino, and it had the raffle ticket business, but Meridian brought substantial value in terms of they're a much larger company than us, much more profitable, and have a technology that's very valuable, and we believe a state of the art. We obviously set huge aspirations in terms of what that technology can deliver and how we'll roll this product out globally.
Mm-hmm. To follow up on the point of delivering, do you think maybe there is in the market, in the kind of the gaming industry more generally, maybe a little bit too much overpromising from perhaps just from the industry at large?
Yeah, I think people came out and they were going to offer up all sorts of crazy things that never really made sense. I mean, as Zoran said, we go back. Also, I've been in this industry for over 20 something years. We sort of veterans of this industry. We come from gaming backgrounds, and we know what can be achieved and what can be delivered. All of a sudden, you had all these people that were going to make zillions of dollars in America, and they were all going to, who knows what they were going to achieve, and none of it made any sense to anybody who's in or been in the gaming industry. We knew that a lot of these businesses were not commercially viable, and I think there have been a lot of casualties. I think there may be a few more, but at the end of the day, it's not really something we focus on. We focus on continuing to be profitable ourselves, building the business, and we will scale it. And that's our, that's our promise to the shareholders that support us.
Mm-hmm. Wanted to pick up on another earlier point made on Zoran's point on. Found it really interesting that you said everything we kind of saw in Europe or have seen in Europe is about maybe, I think you said 10% of what could be to come, kind of in markets across Asia, Latin America. You've got Africa, US. Just wanted to maybe hear a little bit more about that because obviously the potential then is just huge.
Yeah. So if you think about it, when I joined the business, it was like 3, 4, 5 countries in Europe had regulations. Geographical Europe had regulations about in terms of sports betting and in general gambling. And at that time, 2004, 5, 6, it was just impossible that eventually Greece will be regulated, Spain will be regulated, Italy will be regulated, all these big countries. It just seemed like impossible. And Meridian started with a bunch of friends from garage, from the backyard, basically. Mm-hmm. But up to 2015, just in 10 years period, almost every single country out of 54 geographical countries in Europe, every single one of them except of Vatican regulated sports betting in some kind of form. So it's just unbelievable how this business was regulated in like 10 years time. So you can say that in Europe we have regulations for over 20 years. In some countries like UK, regulations are almost 70 years old. So Europe looks like a little bit oversaturated and over-regulated. And you have entrenched interests already, huge companies that already established their positions. And growing in Europe is really, really difficult. As I said, because of this regulation and because of really big and well-established companies. But outside of Europe, if you travel outside of Europe, that doesn't exist. So regulation just started. You have new companies that are established. Everything outside of Europe is maybe 20 years away from anything what looks like Europe. So there is very huge space for expansion. If you look at it, Brazil is opening these days 220 million people and size of Europe as a continent. Peru is opening these days. Colombia opened like 2 years ago. US, many states are going to join and open the market still. India is announcing opening. Japan started to open at some level through resorts and so on. And as you know, Europe is just 6-7% of the total population of the world. Africa started to open, let's say, maybe 10 years ago. And there is still room for expansion, and we are expanding there as well. So as I said, we're very, very optimistic about the future because, as I said, the biggest countries and the biggest markets are yet to be opened and positions are yet to be made on them. Mm-hmm. And as Brian said, we started out of nothing, really out of nothing. A few friends in the backyard started the company 25 years ago. For us, it was just impossible that we will survive 10 years. But we actually become one of the strongest brands, reached the revenues of 100 million a year. We never had any negative year. Every year was consecutively better than the previous one, except of COVID one, obviously. Revenues are growing, profits are growing year by year. And for us, really, situation of scaling the business is something what we experienced in the past, and we just want to continue to run the business. And for us, as we had in the past, for us, profitability rate is most important parameter that we look at it. And We want to maintain huge profitability rate in the years to come.
Couple of interesting points. I wanted to follow up on, you mentioned Africa specifically. Obviously, you guys had a kind of recent expansion in South Africa specifically. This question could be to either or to both of you, but wanted to ask just a little bit about the plans for South Africa, because recently kind of Boyle Sports and Betfred are also looking in that area. So it's obviously a very appealing market for some not so insignificant names, some decent brands such as yourselves are going out there. What are the kind of most appealing aspects of the market? And I think there's something to do with, I suppose, the English language speaking is probably a little bit of a benefit as well. But yeah, I wanted to just ask about South Africa in general.
In terms of South Africa, we are actually not new in the market. So what's happening is that Meridian was operating there on a B2B level for over 10 years. And it was quite successful operation. The situation happened is, I don't want to go into too deep into it. Our partner that was operating with us for these 10 years, we fall out with the agreement. We wanted to buy the company, price was too big. We separated we departed ways, and we basically applied for our license. That's the story. So we are entering the market we know, and that we were successfully operating for 10 years. And basically, Meridian has that kind of model of operations, is that we are entering new market only through B2B levels. So first of all, we start B2B operation, test the market, see the regulatory environment, understand the customer, see if the product is working properly, partners are proper, and so on. If after several years everything goes right, we tend to buy the business and turn it from B2B into B2C. And that is actually how we got with most of our companies are actually former B2B businesses turned into B2C. And that was with South Africa as well. Actually, in South Africa, we just couldn't buy our partner. So we decided to form our own company and get our own license. But we are talking about a market we know excellent. And we were operating there for years. And that will be in the future. So we will never enter any market blindly, just out of the blue. It is always some form of previous B2B operation. It needs to happen. That means very low investment in the beginning. And after test goes well, then we decide to continue. What is very interesting, Meridian in the last 25 years, we operated in over 50 different jurisdictions worldwide, tried to do something. So we have very huge, big company internal experience about different markets and about possibilities which we can achieve.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the model, yeah. B2B, turn B2B into B2C.
Mm-hmm. No, interesting. If I can, a slight twist, I want to pick up a point that you made, Zoran, but present it to you, Brian, because both of you have talked about the kind of the profitability and being sensible and not overpromising. A big debate in my mind, or certainly in the industry, has been not mention any brands, but in the US, a lot of revenue with sports betting, and pretty much zero profitability apart from maybe one brand in 1 or 2 quarters. Wondering what your thoughts are on just in general kind of revenue versus profit, because some investors seem to not place too much value on profits, but I don't know if maybe that's just a ticking time bomb.
Well, we don't want to, I guess, underestimate people's different strategies. And like I say, culturally, we're a little different in that we've always watched our expenditure and maintain profitable companies and generated positive cash. But in terms, I always tell people, gaming comes down to, aside from the technology you need, and you cannot underestimate the technology, but the formula is quite simple. It's how much you pay for the player as opposed to how much money you get back from them. The player. And when you go into a market and you start spending $800 or $1,000 to acquire a player, and you're only getting $300 back from that player, well, you've got a serious problem, because the more players you buy, the worse your business becomes. But it's more than that, because in order to get the higher amounts of money back from the player, you need sophisticated technology. You need artificial intelligence components of your technology, because that player, once he's in your system and he's cost you a lot of money, you need to derive as much money from him as you can. And in terms of that, we believe that we have a superior position in terms of technology, AI, customer retention tools. Our loyalty programs are even on the Golden Matrix side, are deemed some of the best that money can buy. And so when it comes down to that, there are components of bigger companies that got deeper pockets that can go into, like you mentioned, the US and pounce on the market and spend billions of dollars and grab market share. And it's a different type of strategy. It's a strategy where they're going for a particular, maybe to gain a particular market share. But in terms of maintaining these systems, you need the background technology and the expertise, because you're going to pay money for that player, and you may be able to buy zillions of players, but the problem is if you can't maintain them and you don't have the technology and you don't have the ability to spit out real-time betting lines, you're unable to interact with those players and determine what their likes or dislikes, then you cannot maintain a profitable organization, and that's what's going to sort the men out from the boys, I guess. That's my view on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, really appreciate all the answers and analysis you guys have given so far. I think if it's a final kind of area from me, just to look ahead. Now that the two companies are together and you're looking to the future, if I could sort of give you guys a chance to give me a final word looking ahead, and even in fact, I think on the Meridianbet website you've got a mission to become a world's top 10 tech company. No pressure, but that's your guys' target, not mine. But if I could maybe go to Zoran first, kind of final words on the future, and then we'll end with Brian, kind of the same question.
Thank you. In terms of tech, which you mentioned, believe it or not, over 90% of the companies worldwide, when it comes to gaming, don't operate on their software. They don't have technology on their own, so they are using third-party solutions. So only few of the companies actually are coding their own software, which are left. When I joined the business, everybody was coding its own software, and over the years they abandoned that model, and also they are outsourcing everything. We think that it will be just impossible to survive if you don't control your technology completely, and that is the reason why we are very bullish on it and investing a lot of money to that. We never want to lose control over technology. So that comes to the point that B2B will become important, and at the end of the year we will invest a lot of we'll promote our B2B product much more than we did it in the past. Before the merger, last several years, we were actually much more turning into B2C model than B2B. Now, from the end year, we want to invest more into B2B. When it comes to future plans, as we announced, we are looking at Brazil. So this is on the table. So Brazil and South Africa, these are the markets which we need to push stronger, and that we are targeting, besides, of course, growth on our current existing markets organically. So Brazil and South Africa are the markets we are looking at.
Mm-hmm. So, Tim, just from my point of view, I mean, like I said in the beginning, we've always delivered. We're going to scale this company, and I think getting ahead of the curve is what I'd suggest for anybody who's out there and wants to follow a successful gaming company. And we'll continue to scale this company, and it'll build it into a multi-billion-dollar business, and you can take my word for it. And hopefully we'll catch up again and we can discuss it.
Absolutely. No, definitely look forward to speaking with you guys again. And first of all, to our viewers, thanks for watching. But actually, not maybe first of all, to Brian and Zoran, thank you very much, first of all, to you guys for taking the time to speak with me.